Cindy Birkland here with cindybirkland.com, and welcome back to Naked Money. And I'm so excited. I've got some fabulous guests lined up today. And one of my favorite new humans, Gary Chupik, is here, and he is going to share all about business. And I really wanted to really pick his brain. He is, and I don't want to say what I think you do, I want you to explain it, but he is really a business coach, and I know that you coach athletes and stuff. So I really want to get into it of what you do, because as business owners and entrepreneurs, and when we're successful, we're always looking for the next level. And I know I always say this, that Tiger Woods had a coach, and he's been the best golfer ever, but even Tiger Woods had a coach. And I know that you coach human beings into total greatness. So I really want to hear, explain your business, your platform, what you do, and so we can just kind of really understand what this is all about.
Yeah, so I work with professional teams and athletes and coaches, and I work with them so that I can unlock all their performance in what they do. So whether it's in sports or in business, I am an unlocker. Okay. That's what I do. So I unlock potential in people.
I've never really heard of it that way. I like that.
Well, there's these hidden reservoirs that we all have within us that we just haven't tapped into yet. And so my job is to let those rise to the surface and almost summon them out of a person for peak performance. And so whether it's a professional athlete or someone in business, my job is to unlock them and then to unleash them into their world and make the biggest difference they can.
Wow. So can you give me an example of that?
Sure, absolutely. So for example, I'll get a call from a head coach, and they'll say that they have a player that's struggling. And so they'll send them to me, and my job is to identify what their challenge is, and then I fix it. That's what I do. I fix people, and I unlock them, and I unleash them to whatever it is for peak performance in whatever industry that they're in. So, and then on the other hand, there are people that do really well and just want to be better. They want to optimize both their mind and their entire life. And so my job is to figure out how to optimize them. And in fact, I actually work better with people who are not sort of struggling or not really doing well, because they have less resources to put into really working on themselves. So if someone's doing really well and they want to get better, that's an ideal situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
not every client is a good client.
Yeah, I would say that's true. And I think Pete Carroll, the coach for the Seattle Seahawks, has it right. He said, Gary, everybody needs a coach. I totally agree with that.
Everybody needs a coach. It's been the times when I have felt stuck or whatever, I need the next thing. And getting a coach, to me, I love the term that you say, unlocking it, because we know what we know, but it's so often that somebody is looking from a different vantage point and says, you're doing a great job here, but I noticed this is what you're up to, and we could tweak this a little bit. And sometimes it just takes a tweak or two.
Yeah, absolutely. I view mental performance training like just a thread. Like you'll teach somebody one thing, and that's one thread. Then you'll teach them another thing, and then you'll teach them another thing. And after a while, we're able to weave somebody's mind to be really strong. So one of the things I like to say is that mental health is like going into the training room and getting bandaged up, or maybe it's pregame and you're getting a bandage here and taping here. But I'm the weight room. I'm a mental performance coach. So I make people stronger, their mind stronger. So I actually help them avoid the mental health issues.
Isn't that amazing? I did a lot of training and started into the mental health world about 20 years ago. And I really find that if our mind is not right, everything can fall apart, even our health. Our mind directs our health. Absolutely. And I know so many people that are not healthy, and I listen to how they talk and their self-talk, or they'll own their disease, my pain or this. I'm like, wow, we need to understand that our words and our mindset really frame everything that we do. Mm-hmm. And if that's not 100%, things go haywire really, really quickly. And I really love that this is what you do for a living. I can't even imagine doing this all day long and then getting to work. So you work with famous people, sports athletes, business owners. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I work with celebrities, professional athletes, business owners. Got my first $100,000 client here recently, nice. So that's really cool. And I hope to be someone that's in demand, and my schedule is tightening up all the time. But I love doing it. It's the best job in the world, because really what I get to do is see people come alive. So I think a lot of people are living, but they're not alive. And so one of the images that I like to paint is in the movie The Lord of the Rings, there's this scene where for the main character gets stung by this big, huge spider, right? Frodo. And so he gets stung by this spider, and then the spider weaves him into a cocoon, takes him off, and goes into the forest. But his friend, Samwise, is looking for him, and finally Samwise finds him. And so he cuts down the cocoon, and he opens that cocoon, and what he finds is that Frodo is living, but he's not alive. So he's not dead, he's living, but he's alive. And so I view myself as a cocoon cutter. Is that I help people come alive. And I've been practicing this for probably 25 years, just doing it in the nonprofit world. And I was a pastor for 27 years. And so you don't have...
I was wondering if you were going to mention
Yeah, you don't have money to motivate people, right? You have to find other ways to unlock people and motivate people. And so I learned how to unlock people just pastoring for 27 years. And then doing this was just such a natural, next evolution of my career. So it's just a perfect fit. But I love seeing people come alive.
Yeah. It really is amazing to me how, in working in the space that you're in, and even for myself, we can go back to something that happened to us years and years ago, whether it be in business or just in life or in the area of relationships. And that one moment we allow to dictate our future. Like if we don't get a handle of this one moment, everything going forward is like a nightmare. Like I can't believe how many friends that I've known that maybe got abused when they were 3 years old, they're still in that 3-year-old mindset. Yes. And when we work with them and get them to get to that point of, this happened when you were 3. Yeah. And what conversation were you in when your 3-year-old self had this trauma, and you carried this forward all along? It's really interesting how the mind works.
Yeah, it's very true. So a lot of people in my industry, like a lot of people talk about mindset, and a lot of people use the term rather loosely. And I think sort of the generalized definition of mindset is a set of beliefs that drive behavior. Yeah. It's a set of beliefs that drive behavior. But I need to go deeper than that when I work with my clients, and so I want to share with you kind of my secret sauce. You want to hear it? You want to hear it? You want to hear it?
This is cool.
So my secret sauce is I don't think I've ever shared this publicly before. I work with my clients with this, but I don't think I've ever shared it publicly before. So what mindset is it comes from an experience that we have when we're younger. Yes. So you have an experience. Sometimes they happen to you, sometimes you participate in them, and they were of your own volition, but there's an experience. And then, in brackets, you have thoughts and feelings that are associated with that experience. So and when you're younger, again, you just sort of feel them. They are what they are. So now you have thoughts and feelings associated with an experience in your past, and then outside of those brackets, you add your response. So you get to choose now, as an adult, you get to choose your response to an experience that you have thoughts and feelings about. And that's why people can go through really horrible experiences, but somehow they choose to respond in a way that's helpful to them, that's productive for them instead of harmful to them. Because oftentimes we'll have maladaptive responses to what's gone on in our past, and so we'll turn to drugs or alcohol or a number of vices, right? And so you have an experience, you have thoughts and feelings associated with that experience, and now you have your response, and all of that creates a belief.
Yes.
So now that's where our beliefs come from. So all of that, including beliefs, is mindset. That's where your mindset comes from. But it doesn't end there. It actually cycles back to the very beginning, and it must result in new and improved behaviors. So what good is it if you have a mindset, but you're not improving your life? It's not, the actions aren't being taken. We want new and improved behaviors, which in reality are actually, we're creating new experiences for ourselves that have thoughts and feelings associated with those new experiences, and we have new responses, we have new beliefs and a new mindset. And that's how you build a mindset. You keep cycling it. So a lot of this comes down to your response to life, your response to situations in your life. Mm-hmm. And if you handle them well in a way that's productive and helpful to you, then it'll change your life.
Well, and I look back at all that when I was going through this process too, when I was going through coaching, I remember we talk about the experience and how we received that. Okay, so our thoughts and feelings. But I remember getting coached on, okay, so is that a fact? So whatever I thought is that a fact? Well, let's go over the true facts of this circumstance. And when we really look at the fact of, well, what are the facts and what is the story I put on this event? And realize that that was a story that I was thinking at that young age, but it wasn't a fact. And to go back and to be able to differentiate a fact from a story is so powerful.
Oh, it's everything, and you pegged it right on. So what I have my clients do is I will say, okay, listen, so imagine yourself back in that experience, and you have your thoughts and your feelings. What would your 50-year-old self like to whisper in that 12-year-old self ear? Like, what would you whisper to yourself? And you might say something like, you know what, don't let this derail you.
Right.
Like, or
you know, this is their issue, not yours.
exactly,
right?
exactly. Hurt people,
Yes.
right? You know, and so I find it so valuable. I mean, I can certainly share things and say, well, is that really true? Or ask those kinds of questions. But how valuable is it for the person to whisper in their own ear and coach themselves?
Yeah, I can tell you that growing up in the church, I received a lot of hurt. Like I got a lot of hurt from people in the church. And I remember when I finally had this moment, someone was sharing with me and they said that to me, you know, hurt people hurt people. And I started looking at a church as a hospital. People don't go there all the time at their best self. They're looking for something. And so it was a really great shift for me to understand, like, that's not why we go to church. It's not always like roses and lollipops. You know, it's people are there to get work done or to find something. And so it was really about a shift in the mindset of how I looked at certain people.
Yeah, and when we realize that the church is just a group of people struggling to find their way to God, right? Like, and when we adopt that kind of mindset, we're like, well, how can I help you? And how can you help me? And how can we help each other? And how can we make this a welcoming community?
But again, when you have something happen at a young age, your younger mind doesn't know how to do that. So for me, it's like now I go back in time and look at all those events that happen with a new, renewed mindset. And I love the fact that that's really what you help people do, is renew their mind.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of fun. I have the best job in the world.
You do.
I mean, really. So I do two things, right? So I have a mental performance playbook that I help athletes and high performers in business. So I work on their mindset with kind of technical stuff like this, right? And then I have something called a game plan for life, which is how do I take what's up here and how do I apply that to my entire life? So it's literally a 2-day experience that people, you know, either fly me into where they are or they fly to Seattle and they spend 2 straight days with me and we optimize their entire life around the vision that they have for their life.
Yeah, and I know I want to hear more about that. We touched on that when we were in Miami. I got to be on a quick interview with Gary for his, I think it was for your website. But I'm like, I want to have you on my show now. But yeah, I want to hear more about that. So I know that we're going to put your information on the screen, but what is the best way to get a hold of you? Is it through the website or your email?
Yeah, the best thing for me is Instagram.
Okay.
So that's where all my clients are. So that's where I am. I spend most of my time. So my handle is Elite Mindset.
Great.
Elite Mindset.
And we'll put that up on the screen.
Awesome.
But I just want to thank you for coming on to my show today. And really, this has been such a treat. We met in Miami at another event at a mastermind, and it was so fantastic. All these great minds coming together, right?
So much fun.
Yeah. So I just want to thank you and have you back someday soon.
I would love to be back.
All right. Thank you.